In the know.
Good evening, everyone.
In the know.
Tony Reeves, fire. Following the news in any way, shape, or form. No shortage of things to talk about. What does it mean? What will it bring? Is this a reality we simply have to accept? Tony Reeves, fire. Tony Reeves. Let's go ahead and get started.
You're a disabled vet. What do you need to do to show the Social Security that you are disabled? Okay, good question. There's a few things that you need to be aware of first going in. So we'll talk about that in the first segment of the show. And in the second segment, we'll talk about what you need to do in order to demonstrate to Social Security that you're disabled. First thing, remember, VA uses a VA rating. Social Security does not. A lot of times what happens is they use terms interchangeably, but they don't realize that they have different meanings. So when some vet comes to me and says, I'm a 30% disabled vet. I'm like, okay, under the eyes of the VA, you are a disabled vet. Under the eyes of the VA, you are a 30% disabled vet. Under the eyes of Social Security, you are not disabled. That's not what they don't look at it the same light. So it's important that you keep in mind that just because you're rated as being disabled under the VA, that does not necessarily take you over the top for Social Security. That's the first thing. Second of all, Social Security is not bound by any determination or by any agency, including the VA. So please don't get in your head that just because the VA has given you a determination that Social Security is bound to follow it. That's just not the way it works. Even more so, if you are found 100%, okay, 100%, don't think in your mind that it is, you have, booyah, you've gotten there, you in there. Like I said before, Social Security is not bound by a disability determination by any other agency. So please, keep that in the back of your mind. I want you to be aware that just because Social Security, just because the VA has found that you're disabled, doesn't mean Social Security will as well. So keep those thoughts in the back of your mind with regards to the fact that you're a VA, that you're a veteran, and that you're trying to prove that you're disabled for Social Security. Now that's the first portion. Hang here. When we come back, we'll talk about the second part.
Under the Social Security regulations, representatives are permitted to practice before the administrative agency anywhere in the country, which means that when you're looking for a representative, you can find someone who doesn't necessarily have to be in your state if you're just going before the administrative agency. So it's possible to have an attorney or representative who's from Utah, even though you may be in Georgia. And our office is actually no different. So if you're wondering which states we cover, check this out. Now the tricky part is once you have to sue the Social Security Administration. Under that situation, you want to have an attorney that's representing you in your jurisdiction. So if you have a representative who's in another state and you've gone all the way to the appeals council and you've been denied and you want to sue the Social Security Administration, make sure you ask that representative whether or not they can sue someone in that particular state.
Okay, so here's what you need to do. First, keep getting your treatment. That's it. That's all. I mean, that's the important thing. You want to stay consistent in getting your treatment because one, it shows longitudinal care that you're ongoingly getting your treatment. Two, the VA is very good about keeping detailed notes. So you want to keep going as much as possible. Second, find out if any of their doctors are willing to complete a form. Now, I know back in the day, a few years ago, I have a friend of mine who's a VA doc, and she used to say that they would get discouraged from doing those. But what I found in recent years is that some of those docs have surprised me. If they don't fill out the form, they'll at least be very detailed about statements in their notes. So you want to make sure, see if you have a doctor that's agreeable to writing statements on your behalf. If they won't fill out a form, at least documenting in your file problems that you're having in terms of limitations you have. Finally, when you have those CMP, I think compensation and pension examinations, those examinations are usually very detailed. So you want to make sure that when you have those bad boys, that Social Security is aware of them. Also, finally, if by some chance your rating increased, remember, Social Security is not going to know along the way. So if when you started your disability application, you were 30%, but by the time you got to the hearing, you're like at 80%, you need to let Social Security know along the way that your disability rating increased and what was the basis for it. The nice part is the VA will actually tell you why they increased your rating. So you want to provide all of this information as much as possible. So go to your treatment, ask the doctors to help you out filling out forms, make sure you provide Social Security or at least let them know when you have CMP examinations. And if your rating goes up, make sure you are proactive. Don't just say rating went up and call it a day. Get a copy of that determination provided to Social Security for two reasons. One, so they have a copy. Two, so that you know specifically what was the basis for them increasing your disability rating. All this information may be useful in helping determine and prove to Social Security that you are disabled.
I want to thank all of you for engaging in the videos. Make sure you take the opportunity to send me any comments or send me any particular questions that you want me to have addressed here. As you know, this show is for you. And so the only way I can make sure that I can provide you some good information is if you provide me some good questions. Keep them coming, and right here on Q&A, Social Security Disability Today.